In addition, well, as I told you, I got rid of my student loans. I did it for myself first through the old third party debt collector letter, which was a long letter, had a lot of legalese in it, and it worked. It was effective. But then after a while, it was kind of tough for people to get it done. It was taking longer. All right, so let's go into the strategies. First, we need to know who is a debt collector. Under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, a debt collector generally is a person or a company that regularly collects debts owed to others, usually when those debts are past due. So, most student loans, I would say about 99% of them are never collected by the person who you took the loan out with at the school. If you could even remember because when you were in school, you just signing paperwork. You don't know who the bank was. You don't remember that. All you know, you needed to get that money in so you could start your classes. How many people remember the actual bank that they signed the loan with? Anybody?
I do not.
You do not know who it is. You just remember
I have no idea.
right. You don't
No,
even know who did this. But you were signing your name away on this thing, right?
absolutely. Yes.
Because how they positioned this to you is you can't start classes until you fill this out. That was the highlight, and that's key to the new to this bill, this $6 billion bill that they're allowing to go through because of unfair debt loan practices. That is an unfair practice when you're going in front of a kid that's just coming out of high school to go into college, and you put the pressure. He wants to go to school, she wants to go to school, and all you keep saying is you can't stop classes until your financial aid is in. They don't give you clear-cut understanding of what you're doing with these contracts. They just tell you, you fill out all of the paperwork. Hey, this is what you qualify. Sign right here. Am I right or wrong?
You are right.
That's it. And if you want to start classes, that's unfair. You're not telling a person, well, you're going to be paying this loan off. You don't have to pay it while you're in school, but the interest is still accruing the whole time you're in school. So, and then when you go into forbearance and all of these other things, it's still accruing. So basically, you're saddled with a lifetime payment, pretty much, because after a while, that interest is just building up the whole time. But you're not thinking about that. It's party time in school. So, debt collectors include collection agencies or lawyers who collect debts as part of their business. So a lawyer is a debt collector. Just because it says attorney at law and all this other nonsense, he is a debt collector, and he's still got to follow the rules just of the debt collector laws. And he can be sued for even asking you for money that don't belong to him. Right? There are also companies that bypass through debts from creditors or other businesses and then try to collect them. These debt collectors are also called debt collection agencies, debt collection companies, or debt buyers. Now, when it comes to student loans, you have what you call loan services, which is Fed Loan Services, Fed Loan, Navient, Nelnet. Those are the three I can only remember right now. I'm sure there's others. All of those are services. When it says they're services, that means you don't owe them a dime. They're collecting on behalf of someone else. Here's the problem with student loans. Just like I asked in the beginning, do you even remember who you signed the loan with? Do you even have the original paperwork? Now, the reason why my method is effective is because I tell the people that's coming after me for money, I don't even know who you are. I don't owe you a dime. And I don't. I don't admit to any debts or any student loans. I didn't take out a student loan with Nelnet. I didn't take out a student loan with Fed Loan Services or Navient. which used to be Sally Mae. I don't know if y'all know that. Sally Mae is still around. They just changed their name to Navient. That's not a new loan student loan servicer. Sally Mae just got such a bad reputation, they had to change their name so that people, it's called rebranding. It's just like the cable companies out here. There's a company called Charter Communications, been around for a very long time, right? But they rebranded under Spectrum. You see? Same thing with Comcast. Got bad reputation, but they rebranded under some other name. I forgot what it is. You see, that's what they do when they get a bad reputation. They go and do a name change on their books. So all of these companies are debt collectors, and the debt collector rule says, let's look at them. Let me share this. Stop. Let's look at the debt collector rules. Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. It says here, first you need to know what the definitions are of a debt collector. The term creditor means any person who offers or extends credit, creating a debt, or to whom a debt is owed, but such term does not include any person to the extent that he receives an assignment or transfer of debt in default solely for the purpose of facilitating collection of such debt for another. You see? 5, the term debt means any obligation or alleged obligation of a consumer to pay money arising out of a transaction in which the money, property, insurance, or services which are the subject of the transaction are primarily for personal, family, or household purposes, whether or not such obligation has been reduced to judgment. The term debt collector means any person who uses any instrumentality of interstate commerce or the mails in any business, the principal purpose of which is the collection of any debts, or who regularly collects or attempts to collect directly or indirectly debts owed or due or asserted to be owed or due another. Notwithstanding the exclusion provided by Clause F of the last sentence of this paragraph, the term includes any creditor who, in the process of collecting his own debt, uses any name other than his own, which would indicate that a third person is collecting or attempting to collect such debts. Let me explain this last part. You got Wells Fargo, right? And you owe them some money. But their debt collection department, say you pass due, calls you. That is a third-party debt collector by this definition. Yeah, the Wells Fargo is the creditor, but Wells Fargo default collections department is considered a third-party debt collector under this rule. Because what they do, the first thing they do, this is an attempt to collect the debt, and anything that when they say that statement, they have to say that because they're letting you know that that arm of the company is a third-party debt collection department. So yes, you could do the same methods to people you've actually had deals with, because this is saying that they have to follow the rules. So let's go down to so now is, what are you gonna do? You heard what I had to say. And most of all, let's keep it real, I'm only repeating what you've already said to yourself. That's why you're here. That's why you tune in every week. Yeah, I'm only repeating what you already said to yourself. I'm not saying anything new. I might be saying it in a different way. I might be saying it in a different tone. I might be saying it with some force differently. But for the most part, your spiritual self has been knocking you over the head, telling you, hey, what you doing? Hey, 3 o'clock in the morning, get up, write that thing, that inspirational thought you had. Write it down. Or go act on it. And what do? You look at that clock, turn over, I'll get it later and go to sleep. Akeem, how you know? How you know? You in my bedroom? You can see us? You spying on us? No, I ain't got to spy on you. I ain't got to know. I know how we are. I know what we really are, and we all operate the same way. We come from the same designer. We come from the same designer who designed us to be spiritual and powerful and divine. And the way we get our inspiration is when everybody's things calm down and all the negative energy is subsided, that's when in the wee hours of the night is when God can really speak to you and get you in that corner and start to talk to you. That's what happens. How you know I can't? Because it happens to me all the time. And a lot of times I listen and then sometimes I don't. And I always regret when I don't. Peace. What's up? It is Consultation Monday, Q&A Monday. This is Monday. This is the time to get your questions answered. I have, Telegram is up and it's working. People will be able to hear you ask your questions. You won't be muted out. So if you're on Telegram, raise your hand and I'll open up the mic. But we did have a couple of questions that I need to answer before we get to that part. Now, one thing before I even answer those questions, let me clear something up or add to what I showed that video. That is my third-party debt collection webinar. This will show you how to beat those student loans. And I know it's catered towards student loans. And the reason why I did that, that's a big deal. People owe a lot of money in that. But it really works for all debts. And one of the things I was saying was, I did the definition of what a third-party debt collector is, or what a creditor is. Remember, third party, you are not a creditor if you're collecting a debt while it's in default. Solely for the purposes because it's in default. So what the companies to do, this is what I'm going to add in. When I'm listening to myself speak, it reminds me to add to the teaching. And here's the add-on. The reason why banks, once they give you the loan for student loans, and most loans today, they sell them off to other companies right away, and then those companies get a servicer. Because at that time, you're not in default. So they're not considered under that definition, third-party debt collector. But you still have remedy. You did not take the loan out with them. That's why my method is effective. That's why, because I don't know who you are. I didn't sign the contract with you. Prove it. I don't go in, see what the old way of teaching it. Oh, well, I owe this person, but I don't owe you. You admit to the debt on one hand and you deny it on the other. And I don't teach that way because of that. When they give that loan away, it's not in default at that point. So in the eyes of under that rule, they're looked at as the original creditor. But if you argue the point is, wait a minute, who are you? Was you there when I signed this contract? There's no recourse for them under that. There's no rebuttal to that. I don't get into whether I do or I don't owe the loan. I always talk about, you're a stranger. Why are we having a conversation? Where you coming from? Butting in my business. Isn't that what you would do if, say, you and I are talking and somebody comes along and just butt into our conversation? I'm like, who are you? Why are you in here? We ain't got nothing to do with this. That's what you got to do. This is one of the things I want to drill and get into your minds when it comes to debt. It's not all about whether you owe or not. Who cares? The issue is, before we talk about what I owe or may owe or not, who are you coming here trying to get this bread? I don't remember you sitting at the table when there was a meeting of the minds on this debt. And that's where you stay. And when you stay in that position, you win. Some of you guys are not part of my premium membership. We had a testimony where someone was coming after, they was trying to garnish the check and here it is. The testimony is this: they lost the case in the beginning. And they were trying to get a garnishment order. See, even if you get found guilty in default, you can still come back and win. And this is what happened. Went in there. Hey, wait a minute. Just because I didn't show up to court and they got a default judgment against me, whatever, that doesn't still mean they get remedy. Because you got to question the court. Who was here with firsthand knowledge that I'd even signed this contract? That's why I keep telling y'all. Y'all need to stay in that position. Here's I'm gonna put in the chat. That's the YouTube video, how to attack affidavits. Because when a debt collector comes after you, he comes with an affidavit. And see, when you don't understand what the methodology of a affidavit and what it's supposed to look like, what is a true affidavit that's considered firsthand knowledge, you'll fall for this trick. See, they'll write an affidavit saying that, oh, my computer system says he owes this money. That computer is not someone with firsthand knowledge. I can put anything in a computer, and it's biased. You own that computer. You service that. Yeah, it's gonna put anything in there that favors you. They ain't got nothing to do with me. No, I need someone with first-hand knowledge of the facts that can testify before this court and say they saw me take out this loan and witness to me. I hope y'all listening, because every loan, that's your defense. The bank don't come to court, the lawyers do. So why is that lawyer in there talking? Shut it down. See, the advice I give and the people I help, and I don't practice law, I practice my religious freedoms. Everything I teach is from a religious point of view. When I give my consultations and I break it down to them, this is where you stay. Don't move, don't change, just stay there. What they'll do is the judge will come and try to help the lawyer out and do all the talking. And when they do that to me, I'm like, hey, hold on, look, I'm confused. Who's prosecuting this case? Is it this guy or you? You're supposed to be the third party who doesn't have a position here. You have no interest in this case. So why are you doing all this talking? Why do they do that? Because the arguments that were set forth, the rebuttal that was set forth was valid. So they sick the judge on you. These courts are not fair to people who come in there and represent themselves, especially when they got good ammunition against them. But you got to know how to stand against them. If you go look to read the Bible, the people stood in front of the courts, they ain't have no lawyer. See what I'm saying? They don't be having lawyers. They stood in. What lawyer represented Christ? He was on trial. Well, he knew what they was going to do anyway. Sometimes when y'all go to y'all cases, they're going to go against you anyway. That's why you got to hit up the Supreme Court. And from an esoterical, allegorical standpoint, that's the same thing with Christ. He got convicted on the man's level and then got exonerated in the spiritual world. Oh, you can have that part of him, but here's the real, here's the spiritual part. You see? So, remember that. If you can remember that, you are 80% winning that battle. Only thing that can trip you up is what you say to them. And you don't have to say much. Like in this case. You don't have to do a whole lot. So yeah, then he tried to trigger. Oh yeah, you can we're gonna scratch this garnishment order because the points you brought forth are valid, but they can still sue you. You sure you don't want to settle? What was they trying to do? Get her to trip herself up and say, oh, let me think about it. Then now that is what you call a quasi admitting to the debt. But she stood her ground, stand firm. And they coming at with their little stuff and just beat them with the same technique. You don't have to go and, see, what I've seen over these years, we got people that want to be lawyers, but didn't go to school to be a lawyer. So they want to show these people that went to school to be lawyers that they better than them. And usually in that situation, they get they ass whipped. They get beat. But in my situation, I'm not trying to be a lawyer. I don't want to be a lawyer. I'm just someone who knows the rules. Right? You can beat any game if you just know the rules. You don't have to have a degree in it. You just need to know how the rules and how to apply them and when to implement them. Okay? You could win at life just by knowing the rules. You don't need a degree to win. You just need knowledge, the correct knowledge, the correct study points. And in this community, I've watched people study, believing they knew the truth of something and fail miserably. Why? Because they went in those courtrooms with their rules and not understanding what the rules of the court. I can't go to somebody's playground and make my own rules up. I got to understand how they're playing it, this game, and lock that in and go. And then, okay, these are the rules that you say, okay. And then I just use their rules against them. See, they could not give those people that garnishment, let them go through with the garnishment order, because it was a fact that although the person was in default, in order for the court to rule in their favor, they still need that witness with firsthand knowledge, whether by affidavit or by courtroom testimony, and sworn under oath. And affidavits, once they get notarized, are considered sworn testimony. But like I said, they'll get a clerk in their office to say, yeah, this is in our computer, and I verify that it's there. That's not verifying that you actually took this debt out. That's just saying it's in their computer. And if you don't challenge it, the rule is affidavit stands as truth. Unrebutted affidavits stands as truth. And that's how they get away with it. That's a little loophole that they use. Well, so let's get to these questions. There's a couple of them. Let me go to my email. The first one was, when structuring my explanatory statement for the Social Security Administration stating my nationality, would it be okay to use my birth name properly styled? And he writes his name. I asked this because when I did the name change, I went with something very native to that land rather than upper and lowercase. Original birth name, I went with George. Okay. They don't have the updated name, and I don't want to do more damage than good. If you're gonna correct that social, you can only correct the name they have on the record. Okay? You can only correct that, so you can't go give them something they don't have on the record. You can only correct the status of what they have on the record. I hope that answers the question. And I appreciate you correcting me on the name. Now I know how to pronounce it. All right. Second question. My restaurant is an LLC, and I'm wondering if there's a lawful structure I can put in place so that I avoid paying taxes on the profits. Okay. This is a great question. I like this one. The other one was a good one too, but I like this. You can keep your restaurant as an LLC. But what you need to do is have an entity that's tax exempt as the owner, like a church. Like in California, you can go get an unincorporated nonprofit association and make that the owner, the member of that business. And now that's the person that'll be responsible for the taxes. but that person is tax exempt. So there you go. Now, the business, the LLC, will have taxes that are unavoidable. Like, for instance, if you have employees in your restaurant, you're going to have to collect taxes for them. But with a restaurant, I know you have expenses, like heavy expenses. So taxes is the last thing you need to worry about, because with those expenses, you got so many write-offs, and you want to take advantage of them. You got equipment depreciation write-ups. And here's a little trick. See, sometimes we try to avoid paying taxes and all that we forget to look at the whole picture, right? I just want to pay that. No, sometimes having taxes owed is a good thing. Or having a tax liability is a good thing. Not owed. So I'll explain. So here's a technique. Say you, at the end of the year, may owe the government $10,000 in taxes. So how do I offset those $10,000 in taxes? I go buy a piece of equipment that's going to offset it, that I can enjoy. For instance, certain vehicles that are way over a certain weight, weight, qualify for a huge tax break. So you have a choice. Either you could pay the government that $10,000 in taxes that they say you owe, or buy a piece of equipment, take the same $10,000 and go put it on some equipment. And $10,000 is a small number. Put it on a car, a truck that you might want. Yeah, you're gonna have a payment on that truck, whatever, but now you're enjoying your money instead of giving it away. I hope that you understood that. Now, if you go to a tax professional, they'll be able to break that down even better. Like, for instance, the BMW X5 was created specifically for people like doctors and lawyers. That's why you see a lot of them, they drive those cars. They don't drive them because, they drive them because they like the cars, those types of cars. Especially that X5, they drive it because it's a tax break for them. Because they collecting fees and they got they end up owing a lot of money. So instead of giving, I'm gonna go buy this truck. I'm gonna make a payment somewhere, but might as well enjoy my money. And then there's other better ways than that, but you have to be part of that membership, and then I can show you how to do recruitment, blah, 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 things like that. But that's on just a general note. That's what you can do. When you're in a business, you look for creative ways to what you call have tax avoidance. That's totally legal. Tax evasion is illegal. So you structure things where, boom, okay, I got this, boom, I write that off. Like my company is, we just bought upwards of $100,000 worth of equipment or more in the last 6 months. All of those are write-offs. Big time. So I'm definitely gonna do taxes. See, I know in this community, I'm not doing this and I'm doing that. No, I'm going to do those because I'll be beating myself, messing myself over if I didn't do it. Because there's benefits. I bought $30,000 worth of first on one piece of equipment, $50,000, $60,000, and then $30,000 trailers and stuff like that. Got to get that bread back. All right, there's the 2 questions. I wish as this continues, continue to send your questions by email. I will answer them. All right, I will answer them if I can, as much as I can. So, anybody that's on the Telegram, if you got a question, there's a way to thumbs up yourself so I can see you waving at me and I'll open up your mic. Lucan Apple, peace to the gods. That's what he's shouting out to everybody. Fred Mitchell has his thumbs up back to you. Peace to all. Hop along. What's up? Peace, Hakeem, and those who want it. Yes, I want that piece, and I'm sure everybody else do. Now, somebody put Sally Mae in, then I remember. They remember Sally Mae is a servicer or was a servicer. Now they operate under the DBA of Navient. Okay? Peace, my brother, Indie Circle Ministry. Where I'm from, the cable company was named Teleprompter. Later on, they became Comcast. I don't know how many times they changed hands before they became Comcast. And Comcast is also Xfinity. That's the DBA, Xfinity. All right. That's the link to the attacking after Davis. How to attack after Davis. Oh, Trading Brigade Consultant Salute Brother speaking facts. Thank you. I had a garnishment drop from a third party using Akeem's info many years ago. Absolutely. Thank you for the shout out. See another testimony. Jody Stickamo says greetings. Lucan Apple says thank you. That helps. He corrected me on the name. Lucan Apple. Everyone in the chat hit the thumbs up. Yes, everyone in that chat hit those thumbs up, likes. I don't see any more questions. I don't see nobody asking questions. I will, let me just draw off some experiences and some of the consultations I've been getting. 9-8 numbers. To get a 9-8 number, you must call. You must call. All right, you must call them to get that. You can't get that by faxing or mailing or going online. You can't get it like that. You must call to get that 9-8 number. All right. Now, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag somewhat. When I was teaching 9-8 numbers, I was based off of, what I was taught when I came in the game, and I didn't see any reason why we should not use them. But I have studied some things, and you can use a regular, if you get it a certain way, a regular EIN without, or as your trust, and still be considered foreign. Yes. And I'm not going to speak too much in depth about it because I don't have I like to read from the rules. So I don't have those rules in front of me. But let me just write that down as a reminder to maybe next Monday I'll talk about that, showing you that you can still get an EIN number that's foreign, but it's not a 9-8 number. Because remember, foreign means a lot, means different things in this system. Foreign is anything that the system doesn't have jurisdiction over. That's foreign. Okay? I'm just writing this down. All right. Yes, Fred Mitchell, interesting. Actually, I discovered this probably darn near a year ago. It was just, I got so much in my head and going back and reteaching it. Like, I'm going to introduce you to the class first and before I say it on these airwaves. If I do say it on these airwaves like this. I might not. Because, all the people that pretend that I'm not speaking facts will hear me say this stuff and then go teach it on their YouTube channels, like as if they came up with it. So some things I just reserve the right to hold on to and just put it out there in the atmosphere of the people that are in my premium membership. And keep in mind, next week, driver's license webinar 3, that's going to show you how to rebut if you get pushback, how to fix that. So y'all got to remember, a lot of the teachings y'all got is coming from somebody telling you this was the fact, and y'all didn't never verify it. The difference with me, I verify these things. I learned my lesson from not verifying. Because when I didn't verify it, I go in there, I'm fighting with the people. Yeah, why you not giving me? Coming back to the people that told me, yeah, man, they don't do that. Yeah, man, they just running you over. Never once will they admit that the information they gave you was faulty. That it had some missing pieces of the puzzle in it. You know, like Rule 5.1 was another one. Yeah, you got to do the Rule 5.1, but you got to back it up with basically an explanation of why you should win. You can't just quote the Constitution. You got to say, well, based on it, this is why, this is it, this and that. And you got to have an affidavit in support of your 5.1. And if you read the rules, it says it. An affidavit in support. So if it's an affidavit, you have to sign off it, get it notarized. And all of that's going to state the facts. I broke that down many years ago. And it seems like I'm coming full circle again, that I'm going to have to go back and talk about these things. Like birth certificate authentication. Is it really necessary? Do you know, it was a big thing, and it felt good to go get your birth certificate, notarized, and you get this grommet on it, and got this fancy piece of paper saying it's notarized, and you feel like a sense of accomplishment. But that's great. But what does an authenticated birth certificate really done for you all of these years since you've done it? That's a big question. See, the time answers all questions. It shows you the proof of something that either it's working or not. It shows you the proof of something that it's just something you did, and okay, what's next with this? What else do I do? Having an authenticated birth certificate was great, but really, what have I accomplished with this? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I've done a lot of process without it and was just as successful with or without it authenticated birth certificate. See, 10 years in now, I can say that. Because 10 years, and I'm sure there's people on here that can vouch for what I'm saying. So yeah, I don't think, come to think of it, I done put it in my court cases. I still got problems even when I did that. You know, when you think about what you did. But when I started getting success with my cases is when I understood the rules, and I wrote out my stuff under the rules, guidelines, and bust them out with that. That's when I'm telling you, that's how I was winning. I dismissed all that fancy stuff that I was being told, because when I did the fancy stuff, I lost. Basically, I got treated disrespectfully when I did it. Very first time. Y'all go back. Those shows are still up there. Hindsight Radio on Blog Talk Radio. Y'all go back to those shows from like September, October, November of 2015 and listen to those shows. 9 years ago. And you'll see. Blog Talk Radio, Hindsight Radio. Those shows are still there. Y'all can go listen to all of that stuff. Constitution is a great thing to use when you connect it to the rules. Rules of court, rules of evidence, rules of civil procedure, local rules. That's another important thing. Local rules. Understanding the local rules is another important thing.
how you supposed to file stuff, how the New York guy is weird. They want cover letters and cover sheets and put this on the front and the back. They different. There was someone who was fighting traffic tickets, and they didn't have the confidence that they could win because they always lost in those lower courts. Yes, you will lose in the lower courts, but they got a procedure to beat. Go back and beat. It's called Rule 73 procedure or something, which takes it into the Supreme Court. A 73 proceeding. What is it? I think that's a section. Let me see. I can't remember. Let me go. See, they always have their remedy and the rules on how to get back at them in these courts. But if you don't read it, you'll always lose. Okay. Here it is. It's I'm on DMV New York. Cause see how traffic tickets are handled. They're handled by they have a quasi court by the DMV, and those are administrators. They're not even real judges. But let me share my screen so y'all can see that. This is it right here, right? It says, if you are issued a ticket, please follow these instructions. Don't delay, follow the instructions. Plead guilty, go online and basically pay it. Plead not guilty, schedule your hearing. Complete a statement and place a personal appearance. The judge will hold the hearing and you will be notified of the decision. And most likely they're going to rule it against you, right? Now, in any court you could ask for discovery and things like that. They won't give it to you there. Why? Because they don't have to follow those rules, because these are administrative courts, just like someone put in there. Somebody put petition for review. Well, it's got another name. We schedule the hearing. What happens at your hearing? You're considered innocent unless you're proven guilty. That's BS. They don't treat you like that. You cannot be found guilty unless there's a clear and convincing evidence that you committed the violation. So the evidence is the cop. They always, most of the time, side with that cop. Why? Because it's a money maker. If you go in there and they just let most people win, they ain't making no money. They gotta get you, because they know that most people won't take it past that court. But you have remedy, right? The judge will listen to sworn testimony from the police officer who will explain why you were given the ticket. Then you or your attorney may ask the officer a question. You may testify, bring witness, or present evidence on your behalf. The judge may ask witnesses questions, better understand their testimony. You don't have to testify, but you may if you wish. You cannot be found guilty just because you did not testify. When all evidence and testimony have been given, the judge will decide whether you are guilty. I ain't gonna read it. That's what they talking about. So let's just talk about if you get found guilty. You got an appeals process, right? If you believe the justice was incorrect based on the facts and law, you may file an appeal. You can determine if you can file an appeal online or download Traffic Violation Bureau of Appeal. Boom. Then they go into license this, right? So if you're on this page, you will not get the right answer. So what you have to do is click. I think this is the link you click. No, that's the form. Let's go back. That's the form. That's the form. See, peel on. Let's see if it'll bring me that page. See, they don't even have it. See, they don't move it around. There's a proceeding, 78 proceeding. See, they want you to peel this way, but you're not going to get any remedy with that. You need to get that thing into the Supreme Court. Okay. Let's click this one. So they just giving me that. See, now they make, see, this is why people can't find what they want. Let's see. Give this a habit. Because I was just reading this about 2 weeks ago, one of these pages. And they don't have it on this page. It's a 73 proceeding, 78 proceeding. That's how you fight it, man. It takes it into the Supreme Court and they look at whether they followed the Constitution. That's where you're gonna get your remedy. But I can't find that thing. I'm gonna do some research and make this part of tomorrow's show, Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Make it part of that. I'm gonna research this. I'm gonna get that information because I was just looking at it. Maybe I saved it as a bookmark, and but it actually said it. It said you go here. I did a simple search, and now on this page is missing. That's funny. All right, I'll find it for you tomorrow. We'll talk about it to show you the proceeding. In all states, they gotta have a constitutionally protected court. Like the real courts are the Article 3 courts. You gotta have a way to get into those courts. All right, well, anyway, it's 8:48. No more questions. I'm out of here. I think I taught y'all, answered a few questions, and added some more information. So with that being said, you guys have a great rest of your evening, rest of your week. Again, the month is over. We got 10 days left. It's done. We done. So peace. You guys have a good night. If you are not getting what you desire, you're not happy with things going on in your life, then there's a bad tree somewhere in your midst. And the tree is in your head. There's bad information in there. You're identifying with bad things. You're identifying with things that are giving you unpleasant experiences. So the first tree you need to check and maybe cut down is that negative tree that you have allowed to sprout in your brain or in your mind. A lot of us want to believe that our mind is inside of this organic thing, right? That's where our mind is. But what if I told you your mind is not there at all? That brain is just a processor. It's either true or false, and takes information and okay, this is what we need to do. It's basically organic mechanic. Your mind is an energy field that surrounds you about 6 inches in front of you. It's the shield of energy that's why you can come close to people and you start picking up vibes because you're picking up that energy. That's why when you can take your hand and put it here and you can kind of feel it, not just heat, but you can feel some type of energy surge. Like, see, I can feel that energy surge. That's your, what you call, spiritual radar. See, we so identifying with what we can see and think that's it. What you see is not it. What you see is the end result of your mind. That's the end part. That's the end game, okay? What you're seeing is the result of the manifestation of your consciousness. So if you can disconnect from what you can see and just concentrate on what you can't see, and that's how manifestation happens. That's how you bring about those things that you desire.